Hi, welcome to my video diary for week 6 of the Shrink Yourself programme. I said I thought this week might be a bit challenging, and so far it has been. Lots of opportunities to indulge and celebrate with food. And it's interesting, the extent to which I've used food in the past to improve any, given situation, celebration, relationships. Food has really, been the icing on the cake, literally. And if I strip that back, then what's left? And that's also quite interesting too. So I've been mindful of my food. I have celebrated and indulged a little bit, but I've gone for a taste of what I fancy rather than a whole plateful, which in the past I would never have been able to resist, really. And in resisting it, I don't feel deprived. I think I've enjoyed a little taste of what I thought I was missing, and then when I've returned to my the way I've been eating, much more sort of trying to get, at least 5 different portions of fruit and veg a day, and vegetarian, low fat, high fibre, really sort of natural foods, and smaller quantities. I've just felt much more like that's a celebration of life. That's a celebration of choice, and taste, and really treating myself, as I think I've mentioned before, that's how that feels like. I'm nurturing my body in a way that I just haven't been able to do with food before. I'm conscious that, perhaps if other people are celebrating with food and I'm not joining in, that I might be spoiling it for other people, and I wonder how that feels. Maybe it's harder for them than me, but certainly I'm perfectly happy eating that way. But maybe it's harder. It maybe brings things to the forefront for them about their choices about food. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about this being hard for other people, and I'm hoping that it isn't. But it's certainly really amazing progress, I think, for the last 6 weeks, just to have been surrounded, as I have been over the last few days, with temptations to overeat, to all my kind of weaknesses, if you like, all the things that I would previously have mindlessly indulged on. I've kind of not. My hunger switch has been tripped, if you like. That's a the hunger switch is a phrase used in Shrink Yourself, and but being mindful of how I might, playing through the scenario of, okay, if I eat that, then how would I feel afterwards, and would it be worth it, and yeah, a little taste of what I fancy, without a full-on food fix, helps me to stay. I want to say in control, but that sounds a bit too uptight. Just in a kind of happier place, really, about it all. The guided session this week was an extension of last week's, going further into sort of relationship issues. And I think that's an interesting one. If you're stripping away, I think that food and overeating and drinking sort of props things up, certainly. And if you strip those away, then looking at what's left in a relationship, and the things that you've got in common, and how you spend your time, and what your shared interests are, and what you like about each other, can only be a good thing, really, because the focus becomes about more healthy, more positive, more sustainable interests. And so I look forward to kind of perhaps reinventing some of my relationships a little bit as well, so that they're not don't evolve around food and drink as much, or if they do, they perhaps they could be, part of a sort of embrace the positive aspects of this program, because I am certainly very keen to share the positive outcomes and the things that I'm learning so far. And I guess we'll continue to learn. I've printed out the 10 successful tips, for healthy weight management. Anyway, this is part of the programme, and I think I'm going to laminate them. I put them on my fridge, or put them in a little pocket-sized version that I can carry around with me, because they, every single one of them is really valid and useful. And I think I'm operating at about a sort of 6 out of 10 success rate at the moment. And I think that's quite a bit of progress in the last 6 weeks. And I look forward to being 10 out of 10 one day. I'll speak to you again next week. Again, another week full of temptations. Here's hoping I can stay in a positive place. Thank you.